Hello mate, here's a little video to try and explain how to do these cubics. So I'll just start off trying to explain this one that you asked me about, and then I'll answer the other question you asked me about on a different cubic. So for this one's more complicated, then a bit more tricky than the one that I showed you how to do before, because the main thing with it is that there's a number there, so it's not just 1h cubed, or it's a sort of more straightforward one. It's 250, but apart from that it's pretty similar, except in this particular case there's no h value, there's no h to the power 1 or linear part to it, so that's kind of skipped out. You asked me how to solve that just to start off with, and that's a question I'll answer after I explain this, but for now you're given that 1.6 is a solution. So you know that works. I haven't seen the previous part of the question. I'm just doing this raw, but you know h is 1.6 works. So that means that, as you said, 5h minus 8 is a factor. So I'm not sure you understand that bit, but if you don't, let me know. So going from there, we're going to just draw a line across as usual. We know that 5h minus 8 is a factor. So from there, we can figure out the right hand column. So I've already pre-put this and put minus 8, because that's what's going to give 64. Minus 8 times minus 8. And now, as soon as I've got that, that's my first one. And remember, I'm just trying to find a quadratic here. It's going to be a quadratic, it's going to appear here. I'm just going to populate the values. So this first one could be minus 8. Then I've got to get 0h. Okay, well, that's quite a nice one to get actually, because if you get 0 here, it means I've got to get 0 for the next part, which is that cross. So I'm going to get minus 40 here. I've got to get minus 40 here. Well, they're both the same, so that's just going to be the same as well. So that's going to be a 5h as well to cancel out. So there's 0h. It's just had to be a minus to cancel out the negative. So this will make a negative. I need this to make a positive. So this must be a negative as well, because it's minus times a minus there. So that's going to give me minus 5h there, and that's going to give us 0. The next thing is, we can skip that one, we'll use that later as a check, but we just want to generate 250h cubed now. I've got 5h, so what do I multiply 5h by to get 250h cubed? Well, I need 50 for the 5 times 50 to make 250, and I need h squared to get h to h cubed. So just put in 50h squared. And that's where that quadratic comes from. So I hope that makes sense. Next thing we're going to do is try and solve that. So to do that, we're going to use a formula, or we could complete the square in it as well. Could try and factorise it, depends. I wouldn't bother with this one. I haven't explained how to tell whether or not a quadratic is factorisable, but here you're either going to use the formula, or you're going to use the complete the square. Whoop, what's that? Ignore that. Yeah, so we're just going to choose A is 50, B is minus 5, C is minus 8, and then just go into the formula, and that's going to generate your two answers. So I hope that makes sense. So we've got 5h minus 8 is 0, so that's going to be the h is 1.6, and then your other two answers come from using the formula here as normal. That's in the answer, so I won't bother writing that again. The other alternative, I mean, this is what we do in practice. You know, if we're not sat in an exam, then what we'd really do in practice is we'd either use a calculator or Google it. I personally would use a calculator, but it's easier for me to just show you on Google what I mean. So there's a website which will do this for you. Just Google cubic equation solve. Here we go. So our cubic equation calculator, A, B, C, D. So I put those values in: 250 minus 425, 0 because there's no h, and 64 is the constant, or the y-intercept. Calculate, and it gives us those values: 1.6, 0.45, which is the other answer you're looking for, and the minus 0.35. So at least you can check your answers with that anyway, and make sure that you're happy with it if you haven't got the answers. So hopefully that all makes some kind of sense. If not, let me know and I'll try and explain it a different way. You asked me, oh, what if I just started off with a cubic and I didn't have this initial information? So you said, how do I get started if I just pretend to be a cubic to solve? Well, we could use a calculator, which would give us the answer. But if you didn't have that, then we normally would just guess values. Now remember I said this is a bit more tricky because of the 250. So, there's my son singing. So, because of 250, it makes it a little more challenging. You'd have to first divide by 250, because the method I taught you where you put a number in and see if it comes out right is only really sort of for nice ones. This with a 250 in front is going to kind of skew things, so when you're trying to guess the numbers, it's very difficult to guess them. And in fact, this one has got a weird number, it's 1.6 to make it work. So you put 1.6 in there, and there, and there, and that's going to give 0. And plus 64, that will give 0. And you never guess that, why would you? So it is a tricky one. So that's why, it's kind of that you need that initial, one of the answers is this, in this case. But more generally, if you had a cubic like this one, then you would just guess a number. So there's no number in front here, so it's a bit more simple. So you'd guess, it's always a good place to start at 1 or minus 1, since 1 and minus 1 go into every number, what you can do. So you try 1, and you're going to get 1, it's cubed, plus 2 times 1 squared, minus 1, minus 2, is 0. So that is a solution, which is going to give the factor x minus 1. And then once you've got that, you can then just go on and do the usual thing of solving it by putting that there, and either plus 2 there. In fact, you might want to stop the video now and just try it yourself, and then come back to it. So I put a plus 2 there, give me minus 2, 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, I need to generate minus 1 x, so that will give me 2x, so I need to get 3x off that. 2x take away 3 is minus 1, so I need to multiply that by 1, so it's going to be a plus 3x there, because that's minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1. Like I said before, this is the only fiddly bit, I think. I mean, that's easy enough. It's a little bit fiddly to figure out what that would generate, but the thing is, once you write it down, you can check it, so does it make sense? Minus 3 plus 2, yeah, minus 1, okay. And now I just got to get that x cubed. So to get that, I'll just do x squared times x there. And that's my quadratic, and then I'll just factorise that as normal, or solve it using the formula, or complete the square. I mean, here I complete the square, it's quite straightforward, simple and quadratic. But I happen to know it's factorisable, because I've done this before. So two numbers that multiply to give 2, 1 and 2, and then do they add up to 3? Yep. So I can put some pluses in there, and then just x and x, so x squared. So three factors for this cubic are x plus 2, x plus 1, x minus 1. Hopefully that's of some help. Any questions, just get back to me. I'll happily explain anything else. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon.